Welcome back to Views with Hughes, Culture and News. This is Jerome Hughes. Now, let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, as you all know, we're witnessing the direction our society is heading, particularly in Hollywood, with the focus on Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy, and this whole thing with the DEI, okay, or as you know, diversity, equity, and inclusion, as they call it. Now, I'm just a regular dude, still love Star Wars, love my country, and I believe in fairness. But basically, we gotta dive in this topic. So first off, there's Kathleen Kennedy, where she's been running Lucasfilm, as you all know, since 2012, right? And I'm not here to bash her personally, but we got to talk about the elephant in the room, which is her leadership. That's been, controversial to say the least, especially when it comes to how DEI policies have been implemented in Star Wars universe under Kathleen Kennedy's watch. All right. Now, I know what some of you were thinking. Here we go, another rant against diversity. But just wait. That's not what this is about. You see, diversity in itself is not the issue. I mean, we don't who doesn't want to see a universe as vast as Star Wars reflect all kinds of people? But the problem I see, and I think a lot of fans see, is how it's been done under Kathleen Kennedy's leadership over at Lucasfilm. Okay, but we got to start with the movies itself. You see, remember The Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, as well as The Rise of Skywalker. Now, there's no doubt that they did make a lot of money, but at what cost to the fan base? You see, each of these films under Kathleen Kennedy's direction actually had moments that actually felt more like they were about ticking boxes for wokeism than telling a cohesive story. Now, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed, some people enjoy parts of these movies, but there's a sense that, the narrative was sometimes sidelined for the sake of representation. I mean, I didn't enjoy them, to say the least. But take The Last Jedi, for example. Now, there were some fantastic moments, but also some decisions that left a lot of fans scratching their heads. Like, why did Luke Skywalker, the legendary Jedi Master, toss his lightsaber away like it was just nothing? Or with the whole subplot with Rose Tico, who felt forced to go to some, including myself, like her character was there more for diversity than for the plot's necessity, all under Kathleen Kennedy's oversight, okay? But I'm not saying, these particular characters shouldn't exist. I'm just simply saying that they should feel more integral to the story. And that's why I think the removal of DEI policies, if it happens under Kathleen Kennedy, could make a huge difference. Now, it's not about removing diversity itself. It's about making sure that, when diversity is included, it's done in a way that actually respects the story first. You see, we still got to talk about on Kathleen Kennedy herself, where Kathleen Kennedy's tenure has seen a lot of ups and downs. Now, the backlash she's received, particularly from certain quarters of the fan base itself, has been intense, as you all know. But at the same time, these are the consequences to her decision making. And I'll admit, on the flip side, there's legitimate criticism about the creative decisions that seem more about pushing a particular woke agenda than preserving or expanding the legacy of Star Wars itself. Now, the removal of DEI might change how Kathleen Kennedy is viewed. On one hand, if Lucasfilm goes back to focusing purely on storytelling under Kathleen Kennedy, maybe she can steer the ship back to where fans feel at least somewhat more at home with the franchise. But then again, I doubt that'll happen. Now, if this shift is seen as backtracking on progressive values or woke ideology, it might feel more controversy, making her job even tougher. Okay, and then there's also the whole creative direction itself. Now, with DEI out of the picture, or at least less emphasized, we might see a return to what many fans consider the core of Star Wars. You see, would be pre-Kathleen Kennedy Star Wars, where stories that focus on battle between good and evil, the hero's journey without the overlay or the whole modern woke ideology. But the thing is, Star Wars has always been about more than just space battles and lightsabers. It's about hope, freedom, and redemption. You see, those particular themes can be explored through diverse characters without feel like is being forced or being pandered to, all while Kathleen Kennedy is at the helm. But unfortunately, fans won't come back until she's gone. Now, imagine a Star Wars where characters of all backgrounds are just naturally a part of the world building experience, not introduced as if to check off a list. That's the kind of diversity that fans can get behind because it feels more authentic. Now, the removal of DEI or specific DEI mandates might allow for this kind of organic inclusion rather than what sometimes feels like forced representation under Kathleen Kennedy's leadership. Okay. And then there's also something that we got to consider, which is the whole corporate strategy, as they call it. You see, Disney, the parent company of Lucasfilm, ran by Kathleen Kennedy, has been dealing with its share of backlash over these issues. Now, if Lucasfilm scales back on DEI, it might be seen as Disney trying to go ahead and appease the vocal part of the fan base, which is at this point could impact partnerships, how talent views working with Lucasfilm, and even how the public sees Disney as a whole under Kathleen Kennedy's tenure. All right, and the public backlash has been severe over the years, but here's where I think it actually gets interesting. If done right, this could be a chance for Lucasfilm to go ahead and pivot, all right, to focus on what made Star Wars beloved in the first place, okay, which was compelling stories, memorable characters, as well as, a sense of adventure that transcends the whole woke politics. And Kathleen Kennedy could lead this charge, but I mean, let's be honest, it would require careful navigation by someone who actually loves a franchise. And let's not forget, though, this is not just about Kathleen Kennedy. It's about the future of Lucasfilm, about how this iconic franchise could continue to evolve while staying true to its roots. Now, if DEI policies were removed, the question becomes, how does Lucasfilm make sure it doesn't just go ahead and revert to what it did before with the woke ideology? Okay. Now, someone consider it to be a step backwards if it was an all white crew with men, but at the same time, I mean, it wasn't an all white crew with men. It was women as well as people of different races who were also handling the project. But in terms of job security, Kathleen Kennedy has been in a hot seat for a while now, and there's been calls for her to go ahead and step down with fan campaigns, the whole 9 yards. Now, removing DEI might either solidify her position if it leads to a successful new direction, or conversely put her on a chopping block. Now, if the public sees it as an admission of past mistakes, okay, and then there's also the whole brand itself under Kathleen Kennedy. Star Wars was just more than movies. It's a cultural phenomenon. You see, the brand itself has suffered some hits with mixed reception of recent projects. A shift away from DEI could mean an opportunity to refocus on storytelling, potentially bringing back some of what the fans who felt alienated. But it's a double-edged sword if not handled with care. You see, if that's the case, it could alienate others who've embraced the newer, more diverse aspects of the franchise, okay? But at the same time, this is what got us here in the first place, all thanks to Kathleen Kennedy. But if Lucasfilm decides to go ahead and remove or lessen its focus on DEI, it's not just about Kathleen Kennedy's, future or the next movie's plot. It's actually about the solo of Star Wars. It's about making sure that this universe we love continues to grow in a way that feels authentic to its fans. All right. I'm not even sure if Disney's actually going to keep it or not, whether they're going to sell it or whatever. But the fans want stories where diversity is a natural part of the galaxy, not an afterthought or a checklist item, all under Kathleen Kennedy's stewardship. Okay. So, yeah. What exactly do I hope for? What do we all hope for? Well, some of us hope for a Star Wars where every character feels like they actually belong in a story, where the narrative isn't overshadowed by the need to make political statements, but instead it's actually basically growing the diversity of its characters naturally. Now, I hope for Lucasfilm that whether even if Kathleen Kennedy is gone, that remembers the magic of Star Wars lies in its ability to unite us, to give us escapism, to inspire us, no matter our background. Okay, so let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Share with me your thoughts. I do reply to them. I do read all the comments about Kathleen Kennedy and Lucasfilm. What do you think in the comments below? Do you think by removing DEI, it will help or hurt Star Wars, or is there a different path forward? Let me know your thoughts about this in the comments below. Also, be sure to include any additional details or thoughts you might have on this particular topic. If you enjoy what was shared in this video, go ahead and smash the like button, share the video far wide across social media. And if you haven't done so already, you enjoyed all the content that I put out there, go ahead, subscribe to the channel, click the bell notifications so that way you'll be notified of future uploads and updates. Till then, peace.